The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL, but you're encouraged to like and share them on Facebook. Because right now, Nutrition World in downtown Fort Pierce, across from City Hall in the historic Arcade Building, now presents Joanne's World of Nutrition with Joanne Augusto.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. I hope everyone's having a beautiful morning so far. Thank you so much to spend this time with me. I really appreciate you tuning us in and maybe hopefully getting some info today that you didn't know or you forgot. And you can make it part of your daily routine and start feeling better.
You know, you might just discover something on this show that could potentially save your life someday.
Oh, I love you,
There's
honey.
a lot of stuff, though, on this show that goes through there that, well, let's just say you wind up hospitalized for a number of different things. And it always comes back to nutrition, and they'll often in the hospital, they'll send you nutrition specialists. And what are they going to tell you? The same stuff you've learned from listening to this show.
Well, it's funny because the kind of topic today is how to stay out of the hospital, so you don't have to worry about that.
Hey, you could avoid the middleman by doing the healthy thing in the first place.
Definitely. Well, today's show is going to be diet guidelines. Or, as I mentioned last week, I hate using the word diet, especially since it starts with the word die.
Yeah.
So how about just some choices of eating lifestyles that might be right for you? So I would definitely try to listen to this program the entire time with an open mind, because I know it's difficult sometimes when someone's speaking about a way or something different than what you believe in or what you're doing. But just hear me out on this one, because I definitely have changed throughout the years and found the right thing that suits me right now. But in 10 years on the show, I might say something different. But right now, I'm going to give you some insight to my opinions and beliefs about what's available out there. And just kind of taking, my 30-plus years of listening to consumers, myself, my friends, my family, and kind of trying to have it make more sense to you so you can make the choice for yourself.
Well, I never did understand why people would buy a chia pet, but you went through a period of time where you were walking around with a bottle of
with
fruit
chia
juice
seeds.
that have chia seeds in it.
All right, and those will be discussed today.
Oh, good.
But before we start the topic, we must do our breathing exercise. So for newbies that just tuned in, welcome. And what we do at the beginning of every show is just a quick release of some bad, stress of the day through breath, and then we're going to intake all good stuff. So we're going to count for 5 and only using our nose, breathe in, hold for 5, and exhale for 5. Count 5, 5, 5, only through the nose.
We'll do it 3
Cliff,
times a total.
Yep. So Cliff is going to do it for us, the count for us. So
You do
here
the
we go.
breathing.
Without
Okay.
further ado,
Let it all
exhale out.
All right. Breathe in.
Okay.
1, 2,
And while he's counting,
3,
I'm going to give you some
4,
tips while
5.
you do
Hold
this.
it for 5.
So if you
4,
gently touch your
3,
fingertips
2,
during the count,
1,
it definitely is more
release.
meditative,
2,
calming,
3,
helps you
4,
control
5.
your breath.
Again. Inhale.
And it also
2,
controls stress
3,
levels, helps you
4,
get some more energy
5.
for the
Now
day,
hold.
release stress,
4, 3,
help concentration.
1.
It
One more
really
big
is
breath.
an amazing way
2,
to not only start
3,
your day,
4,
but continue your
5.
day.
Hold.
We all walk
4,
around as shallow
3,
breathers,
2,
and we're
1.
just all
Release.
needing
5,
more energy, more
4,
stamina,
3,
and this will do
2,
it. So please, I
1.
stress, only use your nose. Do not use your mouth. Even if you have to put your fingers on top of your mouth to make sure your breathing is controlled through your nose, do that.
This can come in handy in an emergency if you're having a panic attack.
Yes, and any attack, if you feel that moment of just like something stressing you out or your body is giving you something strange that you're feeling, to do that quick 5-breath method a few times. 5 would be preferable. I usually tell people how easy it is to remember. 5 in, hold for 5, exhale for 5, and do it 5 times. You will get better control of your situation, and you will have better information being processed in your brain as what to do next.
You're deliberately breathing the same way
Yes.
that you do in your sleep.
Right.
Pretty
So
much,
We have a lot of information to cover this morning, a lot of information. Someone could sit and research probably for a month, listen to every YouTube video, read every book, and still not have all the information about what the different eating lifestyle plans are and what's the pros, what's the cons, what's right for them. So it's pretty intense. And I can only imagine how confusing it would be for someone to walk into a bookstore and see that huge row of that perfect diet that guarantees this and that and the other. And then the next book guarantees the same thing, but yet it's the total opposite plan. And then it goes on, and every book cover looks as promising as the next. And then you go on YouTube or you Google, and it's all contradicting the next. And so what I'm about to say is definitely based on my belief system and my opinions. And all I ask is just have an open mind, hear me out, and then really use your intuition and your body to dictate what's right. One thing I can say for sure is if you're not feeling well and you don't have optimal health and you're on any kind of medications or you're not sleeping right, then there is a change that needs to be made. So I will give you some suggestions that worked for me and hundreds, I should say thousands of consumers that I've helped by now, and just give you some insight. So as confusing as all the different plans are, I will tell you there's a few things, no matter which plan you pick, that has never changed. So let's start with just the plain old fact that there is no processed food, or I should say processed junk food, that should be allowed or tolerated on any health plan. So I don't care if you're on paleo, keto, vegan, vegetarian, bulletproof, whatever diet plan you embark on, there is no place for processed food or what I call junk food. So what is processed junk food? Some people will come in and say, I got rid of all the junk out of my diet. I don't eat donuts and soda pop anymore. And I commend them on that, and that's awesome. But that's going back almost like 50 years to what you shouldn't do. That's like the same thing as saying, yeah, I gave up cigarettes, so I'm all set. That's great. You got one carcinogenic out of your diet, but unfortunately, all of our packaged processed foods today, with an exception of maybe 5% of them, are all considered junk foods. The reason why is because when they put them on a shelf of a marketplace, they need to be yummy. They need to stay stable for years so they don't have mold or growth or anything bad on them. So in doing that, they ruin anything that might have been intended to be good in it. So now junk food means pretty much anything that's packaged. Now, of course, there are a few exceptions to the rule. So that would be something that you buy in a package but still needs to be cooked. So there is confusion when it comes to that. So someone will say, well, I buy quinoa and cook it, but I also buy pasta and cook it. So I say to them, is that how it's grown? So if you look at that product inside the package, is that how it's grown, or has a factory created that? So everyone knows pasta is not, grown in a field like that. So it's created. So you do have to use your common sense.
You mean spaghetti doesn't grow on trees?
Yes, I kind of wish it was because I love it. But I'm just going to give it a little example for this one. So most plans as well eliminate white flour. So some of them will allow for whole grain flour or wheat flour, but most of them do say no white flour. But I am telling you, if you haven't tried spaghetti squash, it literally goes great for families. It's so economical. It's so delicious. I've made it like 2 times this week. Great with like some sauteed garlic and onion, and or if you have a favorite sauce that you prepare. It's a great way to get that pasta out of your life but not feel like you're missing it. And even Italians, I believe, would go for this. And most of the time with all these plans, sometimes it's not the basic ingredients that people crave or miss, vice versa. It's the sauces, it's the different things that go on them. So the other thing that I want to say is that besides no processed food should be really okay on any healthy lifestyle plan, is that the increase of fiber in any plan. So even if you're doing a plan that's allowing for a tremendous amount of fat and animal foods, they still will tell you to take a fiber supplement. So that shows you right there that fiber is so incredibly important for us. So without fiber, what doesn't happen? Our bowel movements. We don't move our bowels. We don't take toxins out. So again, no matter what plan you decide at the end of this program to choose, you need to keep your fiber intake high. So that's another one of my really important rules, no matter what you choose. The next is water. I stress it on every show, but water, water, water. We could have hours of debate on what's healthy water today. It's very limited, so do your research. I choose glass over plastic any day that's possible, and I would rather filter city water than buy bottled water. That's my personal belief. I try to choose spring water or alkaline water, or if I distill it, I will enhance it back with some Himalayan salt or trace minerals. So the whole idea is the least amount of processing of your water as possible, or the healthy enhancement of it back. But please stay away from plastic, okay? Plastic is extremely dangerous, especially if it's stored out in heat. So water, what is enough with the water? Everyone has different tolerances, but I find the only time there's a discrepancy with water intake if people try to drink it too quickly, too much at one time. So unless you try to do that trick I mentioned last week where you're trying to release your bowels or get a quick energy surge, so you do, a liter of water at one moment, you should spread your water out incrementally throughout your day. I usually tell people 10 ounces per waking hour, unless they're, having real serious bladder issues of incontinence, and I'll say, okay, 8 ounces. But, room temperature water all throughout your day really benefits you. There is definitely no negatives to it. It's only positive. It helps keep you full, helps keep your brain happy, keeps your bowels moving. So please, water, again, critical no matter what plan you pick. The next is fresh air. We are definitely, unless you work outside, living in an environment of indoor air pollution. We're around a lot of indoor air pollution, a lot of technology. We're getting a little fidgety, a little too much. Anxiety and panic disorders are on the rise. So get outside, get in touch with nature. We mentioned last week, hug a tree. But please get back to some nature. A quick walk in the morning, even if it's around the block for 2 minutes. Having your coffee outside on the patio. Just please try to get some fresh air early morning, late afternoon, or early evening. This is really critical. And then exercise. Exercise doesn't have to be intense. It doesn't have to be at a gym. Just go outside and move your body. Just move, 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 move. This is just for if you move, your muscles feel better, your joints feel better, you don't get stiff, your bones wake up and take in minerals and get stronger. It's not always about having muscles or just looking just perfect in a bikini. It's about staying healthy and keeping your body stronger longer. So you do not want to end up dependent on anyone to lift you out of bed to bring you to the bathroom. You want to keep your body strong. So those are my basics, no matter what plan I'm about to discuss. And then I must talk about one crucial piece of the puzzle that it seems like most people overlook or take for granted. And that is your attitude or your belief about your plan. So if you're waking up every morning and you're picking up a coffee drink, say, one of those real fancy ones with the creamers and the sweeteners, or gosh forbid, artificial sweeteners, and a croissant or a bagel full of cream cheese, and as you're eating it, you're saying, oh, I should stop doing this. I know this is why I have a belly, or I know this is why I'm tired, or gosh, this caffeine is making me jittery, or oh my gosh, my acid reflux is hurting me so much. If that is what you're starting your day with, that mindset and that belief system, then it not only was that food dangerous for you before because of its lacking in nutritional ability, but now you've put this emotional stress onto your body. There are a lot of civilizations that do things that some people consider unhealthy, and they don't show the unhealthy things because that's their norm. That's what their culture is comfortable with, so they think it's healthy, and so they don't have our problems. So the only reason that can be possible is because their joy, the positiveness, the happiness, because they don't know they're doing wrong, so to say, is overcoming. You can create so much acid in your body if you're stressed about something. So, like, for instance, a lot of people say to me, oh, well, that person ate so healthy. They ate greens all day. They didn't do alcohol. They didn't do smoking. They didn't do sugar. And they ate so clean. And they did all this. And then they died of a heart attack at 57. So I'm not going to do any of that stuff. Well, that person could have been stressed out. That person could have been an overthinker, a type A achiever, and just it was never enough. You do not know, so do not put yourself in that category. Make your decisions based on what's right for you. But if you are consuming or drinking or thinking something each and every day that's stressing your body out, you are doing so much harm just right there. So first, you have to start with your mind. So your mind, your belief system, your attitude about whatever choices you're making, you need to start there. So whatever you decide to commit to, commit to it for 6 months. Give it 100% of your effort. Look at it like, hey, I'm going to give this new lifestyle a try. And in 6 months, if it doesn't work out for you, then at least you gave it that commitment. But be proud of that and relaxed about it and stress-free about it, okay? Because that stress,
chances are it's going to do something for you.
Yes, and if it doesn't, that's okay. You committed, you can tweak it again, change it up again. I've definitely changed my diet plan or lifestyle plan many times to suit what I believed at the time was appropriate. So again, if your mind is in agreement with it, you've overcome a lot of the battle right there. But if you try to trick your mind to say, oh, that, triple Whopper and that Diet Coke is so healthy for me, trust me, that won't work. You can't trick it.
You can trick it, but it doesn't really work because it backfires. It turns around, and where does it bite you? As soon as you turn around, there it is.
Yep.
And wow.
Yeah. Now, I am going to go over my lifestyle the second part of the show. So I really hope everyone stays tuned for the whole show. But there is a quote in one of the favorite videos that I watch about my lifestyle that she says, pay for it now or pay for it later.
But you'll
and
pay, yes.
I stress all the time that, like, my insurance plan is all the supplements I take and the commitment I have to health.
It's so much harder to pay later.
Yes.
So hard.
And if you want to talk economically, if anyone knows that they've been to the emergency room for even the smallest issue, or it wasn't even an issue, but they thought it could have been an issue, and it's thousands and thousands of dollars, then you know that line is true. You will pay for it later. So remember, there's no such thing as health being too expensive to take care of yourself now. It will be so much more expensive. And talk about loss of work, family time, social time. I hear so often, well, I don't want to change my lifestyle because then I won't be able to socialize with my friends. Well, if you have a heart attack and you're dead, you're not socializing at all. Or if you're in bed because, your hips are disintegrated and you have osteoporosis so bad that it hurts, you're not socializing at all. So what's worse? Telling your friends, hey, I'm going to choose this meal over that, or not being able to show up at all. So you really have to be logical about what you're saying. It really, it sometimes is very frustrating to me because I see beautiful people that have the best intentions, but they keep going out and, maybe consuming quite a lot of alcohol, or having the fried chicken wings, or just the really unhealthy food and alcohol on a nightly basis because they feel that they won't have a social life without it. The social life is not dependent on your food and drink choices.
Depends on your being alive.
That's right. You have to be alive. You have to be well to dress yourself, get in the car, go there, put a smile on your face, engage in conversation. That is so much more important than if you're going to partake in a handful of wings. So I'm sorry, I get so emotional about this, but really, I get so many times, well, I'll start my diet Monday because I have friends I'm going to go out with Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I don't want them to know I'm on a diet.
We're already making our excuses
yes,
for the weekend.
But the thing is, it's not a diet. It's showing your friends that you choose life. Yeah. You choose wellness. You choose to be the best version of yourself, and they will look at you, and you will be the light that they need to all of a sudden say, you know what? It's okay to order carrots and celery with hummus. There's nothing wrong with that. And have, one glass of wine instead of 3. So everyone needs to really understand that. And as I get older, it's definitely clearer to me. So before we take a break, I'm going to talk about real quick the different things I'm going to go over for the second half of the show. So I'm going to talk about becoming a vegan, the difference between a vegetarian and a vegan, the paleo diet, the ketogenic diet, or more popularly known as the keto diet, and also the different type of fats and beans and different protein sources. So if you're confused, like what is protein, what is fats, how to get enough of either, or your nutrient requirements for different diet plans, definitely stay tuned. We'll just do a couple quick minutes of commercials, and I'll be right back to you. Thanks again for listening.
Guiding the Treasure Coast in health, one person at a time. That's their motto at Joanne's Nutrition World, Suite 121, in the historic Arcade Building on US 1, downtown Fort Pierce. Joanne brings more than 25 years of experience in the natural health industry, right here to you. Take advantage of this free personal guide to wellness and good health. Meet with Joanne herself and get started. Nutrition World always provides you with the hottest new product lines, natural and homeopathic remedies, herbals, and best of all, expert advice from the people who care. Call Joanne at 464-3598, 464-3598, and learn the correlation between diet and great health. Stop in today. The expert guidance to health is always free at Nutrition World. Nutrition World, Suite 121 in the Arcade Building, US 1, downtown Fort Pierce.
We now return to Joanne's World of Nutrition, brought to you by Nutrition World in the Arcade Building across from City Hall, US 1 between Orange Avenue and Avenue A in downtown Fort Pierce. Once again, here's your host, Joanne Augusto.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for listening this morning. I truly appreciate it. And please call in to 340-1590 if you have any questions about anything to do with health or wellness or supplements. Today's topic is different type of diet plans or lifestyle plans, and I am putting my own personal spin or opinion about these plans because each one if you look hard enough, can find validity to their diet plan, and the pros and cons are available. So I'm going to just pretty much talk about the consumer's response to these plans and my personal opinion about these plans and what I'm personally doing now. So the first one I want to talk to you about is the keto diet. The ketogenic diet, which is also known as the low-carb plan, is very popular. Now, throughout the years, it has had extreme popularity and then small popularity, and then it just like a roller coaster ride. And I definitely believe in one part of it, and I hold on strong to this, that it cuts sugar, processed food, and crap out of your diet. So that is what I love about the ketogenic diet, that it just stresses to people to get the donuts out, the cereal out, the pasta out, all that processed sugar out, the candy, the cookies, the cakes, really, because like, for instance, if someone says, oh, I'm just going to go gluten-free, all they end up doing is looking for packaged foods that say gluten-free on front, but sometimes their consumption of refined carbohydrates goes way up and they get sicker. So those little tiny villi that are in your intestinal tract, the billions of things that help your good bacteria, your immune system, your health, are all getting deadened and almost destroyed from all that high carbohydrate intake. So that's what I love about the keto diet, is that it forces you to stop all forms of sugar. So that I applaud it. But where I find the huge fault is, just like a lot of other plans, people don't do total research and realize the premise of the ketogenic diet is not a bunch of hormone-filled, antibiotic-filled animal foods. It's about healthy fats. So yes, you can have saturated fats, but the saturated fats that do the benefit, again, are plant-based saturated fats. So Dr. Mercola is my favorite spokesperson for the healthiest version of the ketogenic diet, I believe, because he does have a premise of much more healthy fat ratio to animal foods. And he stresses that if you are going to consume animal foods for morality reasons, environmental reasons, and health reasons, you should definitely pick the best of the best, which would be like grass-fed beef, truly free-range poultry and eggs. That is a very loose statement because truly in America we do not have any clean animal foods unless you happen to start your farm yourself and consume it from you. And most of the time, I can't even imagine slaughtering the animal right on your farm to consume it. But if you did want the cleanest, that truly would be the only way. So the ketogenic diet, again, my belief is that it's great because you avoid those processed carbs or all carbs that are unhealthy for you. And it does help you understand that you need more healthy fat in your body, especially for your brain health. And when you all of a sudden drop that many amounts of refined carbohydrates, of course you are going to lose weight. But the biggest con that I feel discussing this with thousands of people is that it's a Monday through Thursday plan for most. They're really committed. They're checking their ketone strips. They're burning fat. They feel thinner. They're like, it's almost like that dehydration look where, their pants are much looser real quick. But come to Friday, their friends call them and say, hey, we're going out. And they think, well, what would one beer or one glass of wine or one, cocktail mixed with a little splash of cranberry hurt? Or one, handful of, chips with the salsa. But it really does. It disturbs the whole balance of the keto lifestyle. So you should not go from those extremes. So if you do decide to research the keto diet and find that that's the right one for your body type, please give it 100% commitment. Do not be that weekly keto person and the weekend carbohydrate girl or boy. So you really need to do 100% commitment so it's not dangerous for you and it actually provides some health benefit. Again, I stress that you research, read Dr. Mercola's book, Fat for Fuel, and it will stress what the healthy fats are, which I will cover in just a few minutes, and what type of the cleanest version of animal foods you can get if you do choose to eat animal foods. And the next one is called paleo. Now, the paleo diet was definitely my favorite plan. I recommended it all the time. I felt that it wasn't extreme in any area so that most of my customers could follow it. Just like the keto, it definitely does not allow for any processed carbohydrates. So again, I love that. So no sugars. Most of the sweetness comes from its berry allowance, where it stresses blackberries, blueberries, and raspberries. So I love that because I find that, of course, berries do have pesticides unless you can budget for the organic. And I don't ever advocate the strawberries because they supposedly have the most pesticides. But berries are delicious. I love that I could still consume them, and they really look pretty on a plate. So the paleo diet, really the only sweetness did come from berries. And then it had a small amount of the animal foods, the clean ones again as well. And then you have a little bit of nuts and seeds, like I call it, like a little condiment or sprinkling of it. And then dark leafy green vegetables. So the dark leafy green vegetables is the predominant way that you get your omega-3 in the paleo diet, which that's why I think the paleo diet worked for so many people, because they could still have that little bit of fruit, so they didn't feel like they were just totally going without. They got the nuts and seeds, which was a great convenient snack for most. It was high in omega-3, so it will keep the inflammatory process down, so they felt that they had real good health, they had good energy, they could snack a lot throughout the day. And a lot of people do have an aversion to too much meat, which the ketogenic promoted. So the paleo was a nice blended plan. And for a long time, that worked for me. It really was easy to follow. But in the paleo also, no grain on the paleo. And so, again, when you take out all those refined carbohydrates, all the legumes, the beans, and grain, of course, you will lose weight right away as well. You're reducing your calorie intake big time, as well as all those insulin spikers. So the paleo for most worked really well if you want something in between the two worlds. The one thing that I find that a lot of people do on the paleo is they forget about all the categories except for the animal food. So they will say, oh, I'm on a paleo diet, and go through a drive-through and grab, say, a grilled chicken sandwich, take the chicken out of the sandwich and eat it and call that a day. That's not how the paleo plan was imagined, as known as the caveman diet, the hunter-gatherer diet, the Paleolithic diet. The idea is, think of, like, I always try to envision like little girls going with their little baskets and picking a handful of berries while the father's out and going to get wild game that's out in the field. And then there's, a little bit of walnuts that they're cracking open, and they make this simple little I forgot about the dark leafy greens, some dandelion greens growing wild. That's like true caveman Paleolithic style thinking. It's not having this one big hunk of, processed, disgusting meat that's full of hormones, antibiotics, and gosh know how it's raised on your plate and calling it a day. No, it's the balance of having the colors and the omega-3s and the dark greens that are bitter to help your gallbladder digest the fats and keep your acid low because of the alkalinity of the dark leafy greens. And all the great minerals and iron and folic acid that's in the greens and the walnuts as well. So again, please, if you decide to do paleo, do it 100%, commit to it, And there are beautiful images of Paleolithic plates on Google, so you can get an idea. Print a few of those out, one for your home, one for your office. So, and then every time you eat, look at your plate. Does it look like this printed picture? Or does it look like just a piece of huge steak that's, 4 times the size you're supposed to consume, and, maybe a bowl of strawberries, which truly not paleo. So definitely do the homework for that one. And without further ado, the plan that I'm on now that I'm absolutely loving, it was introduced to me by my boyfriend, and I have to say that I was a vegan for a long time, kind of fell off the wagon for different reasons. One of them was that I wasn't doing it properly. I was kind of on the weekends overdoing it with a little bit of cocktails and carbohydrates, which made the plan not suitable for me at that time. But now it's working out really well. So I want to tell everyone about the video that is really easy to watch. It's not too much as far as the morality reasons, just a touch in case you need a little bit of that wake-up call. But it's 5 reasons you shouldn't go vegan. So it's on YouTube. It has over 1.5 million views. So I don't think I'm the only one that loves this video. So 5 reasons you shouldn't go vegan by Bonnie Rebecca. She's this very sweet, beautiful, young Australian young lady, and she puts it really well. She uses science to back up her comments, and I really like how she puts it. So becoming a vegan, I've had some challenges, like, for instance, giving up eggs. That was tough, and she even mentions it on the video. And why it was tough is because if I do want to make a whole grain gluten-free pancake, I really like an egg in there. Just if I want to make a quick hard-boiled egg, with salt, I used to love those things. Now it's getting easier and easier for me. So that's why I wanted to mention the difference as far as vegetarian and vegan goes. So a vegan means you truly don't eat anything that has eyes, or anything to do with animal foods, fish, poultry, the byproducts of animals, so eggs, milk, butter. That's a true vegan. Where vegetarian, they kind of bend the rules sometimes. They'll say, they're lacto over, like they might do eggs and butter, or they might do eggs and dairy, but they won't do any animal flesh. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, that vegetarian line.
Now, if we could just get the grizzly bears to go vegan, we could walk on long walks in Montana.
Yeah, there you go. I'd rather not be eaten by a bear, Definitely not. Okay, that was a really weird thing to throw in there, Cliff. All right. Well, so if you're walking Montana, watch out for those bears.
Well, it would be hard to transition into becoming a vegan for a bear. But
yes.
If a regular person was to try to make that change, they would probably face a few little adjustments.
Well, this is how I really find that it's not only convenient for me, but becoming easier lifestyle for me and really healthy for me. It's because I love shakes. Yeah. I love shakes. I promote isogenic shakes all the time. Super healthy. They make really awesome vegan ones. And if you're a vegetarian, not a vegan, they make the whey protein ones that come from New Zealand, super healthy. So I find that me and the kids, as long as I can have them and be healthy, I know I'm right where I need to be.
When you eat the right food, though, you feel better anyway, right?
Yeah, you feel better, you have more energy, you sleep better, and that's what you need to do. Don't worry about the book. Don't worry about the video. Don't worry about what your neighbor's doing or what anyone's saying. Go by your own body. Are you at the right weight? Is your body fat low to be low enough, not super low, but low enough to be healthy? Are you have a stable mood? Do you have the strength you need? Do you have the concentration you need? These is what you have to ask yourself. Do not judge another's diet plan or lifestyle plan. Just look into yourself. Are you at your optimal health? If not, you need to change something. And I did need to change something. I was definitely not at my optimal health. So what did I have to tweak? I know personally what it was. I needed more green leafy vegetables. That's really what the premise of my issue was.
Become more alkaline.
So, yes, because again, like I mentioned, you have to become more alkaline and you have to have more fiber. Those things, yeah, you can get them out of a jar, but it's not the same thing. When you eat those dark leafy greens, you get the B12, you get the folate, you get all the things that keep what they call homocysteine levels low. Like you can be a vegetarian and your homocysteine levels could be sky high, and that's the number one marker for heart disease. Why is that? If they're not eating meat, it's because they're doing a lot of omega-6. That's the bad fat that I tell people all the time. It's just like having processed pasta. It could say whole grain, but it's still processed. So it could say, oh, it's from sunflower seeds, the oil, or safflower corn, but it's processed into an oil that's a dangerous inflammatory omega-6 fat. So you need more omega-3 coming from plant sources like walnuts and flax seeds.
I never knew that vegetarians and vegans, though, could run into problems of consuming fats from other sources besides
that's what I try to stress to people. It doesn't matter what you are, it can be done wrong.
Yeah.
And so you have to look at your stats.
Yep.
You know, how are your homocysteine levels? Like, for instance, the biggest myth there's two huge myths with being a vegan. One is that you'll be anemic, that you won't have enough B12. And that's so bogus. I know that from even being a meat eater.
That sounds like something that somebody just says to stop that.
Well, that's the whole thing, is that they say, the B12 is in the meat. And, I definitely see that stat, but there's a different type of iron that's in meat that actually is extremely hard to break down, where the B12 that's in the plant foods is much easier. But this is the whole thing. So B12 is extremely popular in my store. I've sold thousands and thousands of bottles. I ask every person, and again, this is before I was a vegan, so there was no bias there. I'd say, oh, you need some B12? Yeah, my doctor said I was anemic. I'm like, oh, do you consume meat? Oh, yeah, all the time. I never get vegans coming in. I mean, unless they heard online, oh, make sure you take B12 if you're a vegan. So they come in and just take it as a precaution. I do get that, of course. But most of the people that are anemic, that their doctors are sending them for some type of iron or B12, they are meat eaters. So the whole idea is, so homocysteine factors are things that make your iron absorb into your blood. And so that is your folic or folic acid or folate, your B12 itself, and your B6. So those things basically make sure that your B12 is absorbing into your blood cells and you are all set and you're healthy. So to keep that homocysteine down, you can do 2,000 micrograms of B12 a week, not a day, just a week. And the other cofactor is choline. So the only negative that a lot of people might pull up online about being a vegan too is brain health. Now, the reason I believe that true again is a lot of vegans turn to a lot of processed carbohydrates instead of healthy fats. So if you do decide to be a vegan, you can offset that little tiny issue with doing some choline, another cofactor to keep homocysteine levels low. Choline is an extremely critical nutrient for the brain. And, of course, healthy fats. So your olives, your avocados, your coconut oil, your flax seeds, your chia seeds. Great way to feed the brain. And so that, I think, pretty much with being a vegan, you're saving a lot of animals' lives and stopping this factory produce I mean horrific things that how animals are produced today. I mean, I can barely watch for 5 seconds without either crying or wanting to vomit. And
I think it reflects on our health after we consume products that have been mistreated.
I mean, everyone tries to ignore where it comes from. They buy it from the shelf and they really never think about where the meat is coming from. But honestly, I mean, you could just pull up a billion videos on how they're produced. I mean, it was all over the news last year because there were local places that are mistreating the animals before slaughter. And some people are like, well, they're going to get slaughtered anyways. But, oh, come on, people.
I cause incidents in supermarkets when I observe chicken that even a whole chicken with a broken leg. Come on, what are they doing? How are they breaking the legs of these?
Oh gosh, can't even say it, Cliff. I really get so emotional, but it's horrible. But the whole thing too, even if you don't care about that stuff and the morality of it, it's not on your conscience. Okay, let's think about the antibiotics. Let's think about the pus that's in our dairy foods. Let's think about the hormones, the pesticides, the mold inhibitors. I mean, holy schmoly. Just that alone, and it's so concentrated in our meat supply, and then the dyes they put in and the changing of the dates, and so much horrible stuff. So
and eggs are so regulated now, they can pinpoint and say that there's so many out there that are with the threat of salmonella recently.
Yeah, there's so many things, and I got to tell you, people will combat at me and say, well, our vegetables too. Yeah, I get it, but it's the concentration, it's the amount. Like, how can you lessen your toxic burden? So again, veganism might not be right for you, but no matter what, put more vegetables in your diet, especially the leafy green ones. I have this simple new formula for how to pick healthier vegetables, and it seems to be right on for most supermarkets. If you walk into the supermarket and you see that vegetable loose and a very small quantity on the shelf, so it's not on their end cap or it's not in one of those big, huge shelving units in the middle of their floor, start there. So radishes, endive, arugula, dandelion, start with the ones that you don't see thousands of, okay? So you notice iceberg, piles and piles, tomatoes, pile and pile, potatoes, those are all nightshades. Stay away from that stuff, okay? Stay away from the nightshades. And we only have 2 more minutes, so types of protein, okay? So we have plant-based protein, which comes from all different beans and legumes. So soybeans, navy bean, kidney beans, pinto beans, that's plant-based protein. The healthiest one is to be pea protein, organic, non-GMO pea protein. Soy protein, normally it's 99.9% a genetically modified crop. Even if it says non-GMO, there's so much issue that there's really no such thing as a non-GMO soybean. So really try to stay away from soy. Go with your pea protein, your vegetable-based protein. If you're going to do animal protein, whey protein, if it's from New Zealand, so far they get thumbs up from really any opinion that matters where it's ethically coming from the cow, grass-fed cows. They don't have our system of animal production factory style like we do here. So that is basically, so plant protein means it has no animal sourcing, and it's normally from beans or vegetables. And pea protein, definitely one of the top ones. Rice protein does exist, but again, there's a lot of controversy around coming from grain and what they call lectins. Those definitely disrupt us and create inflammation, so you want to watch out for that one. And again, healthy fats, omega-3, you want to consume more of the omega-6, even though the ratio should be a little more omega-6. Stay away from any refined oils. I guess we're going to have to touch on this next week again because I thought I had enough time and I don't.
Well, it's always great to continue because, the more we learn, the better off we're all going to be.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Have an amazing week. Stay positive, stay joyful, and I'll talk to you next week.
You've been listening to Joanne's World of Nutrition on WPSL. Archives of this show can be found at www.wpsltv.com. That takes you to our YouTube page. And be sure to look up, a lot of these shows that are archived there all have great, healthy ideas for you. And tune in every Thursday morning in the 10 o'clock hour for Joanne's World of Nutrition right here on Digital 1590. Dr. Stuart Shipe's Holistic Health Hour. Ancient Chinese medicine and practice today. Coming up next on WPSL. He's also on Facebook.